So hello, we've got Nikki Cross in with us today, the wonderful Nikki. So for anyone listening who doesn't know you, and I'm sure lots of people do, you're a personal development facilitator, helping people to create real long-lasting change. You run the Inner Work Business Book Club, which I am a proud member of, and your coaching space as well, the Inner Work Club. So go on, tell us a little bit about you and what your background is.
Okay. Well, I've made some notes just to make sure that I don't get too excited and we keep it brief. But before we go into it, I just want to say what we've got planned today, I'm so excited for because I genuinely do feel like it's such an important conversation.
It really is.
It's a conversation that I would want to listen to. Yeah. So thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming.
Of course. So my name's Nikki Cross. And as you say, I run a couple of spaces, but I want to take you back a little bit to bring you up to current day because it's important for this conversation.
Yeah.
So my background is 20 years in learning and development. I thought, I know what I'll do. I will set up my own business. And then the world went into lockdown.
Oh no, was that when you set up, was it? I didn't realise that.
Yeah, quit my job in the November and then had all of these grand plans and the universe was like, nope, not for you. We're not going to be doing that. So, that's sort of an important little note to put a pin in for later on. But long story short, my whole career was spent on skills development with leaders. So, that's what I love about what you do, Sarah, because you focus so heavily on enabling people, empowering people, but meeting them where they're at.
Yes.
And you've been there.
And it's so important.
So important. And you've lived that. You've got the T-shirt. And what I was noticing in my whole career in learning and development was you would go in, you would train and you would coach people on the skills, right? Communication skills, having difficult conversations, setting and upholding boundaries, all of those things that are really important.
Yeah.
But there was always something underlying that I thought, there's a reason they're not getting this. There's a reason they're not comfortable to implement it.
Yeah.
And that's where the inner work was born. That's why my business solely focuses on the inner work, not because all of that stuff doesn't matter, but because without addressing all of those issues, why actually I know the communication skills, but I feel uncomfortable communicating, or I know how to set expectations and uphold them, but I just really don't want to have conflict and I feel really uncomfortable with that. That's the shit that matters. We're sweary here, right?
Yeah, we're sweary. We're fine. Say what you want.
Thank you. So 6 years on, I feel like what we're about to talk about is especially important to talk about today because in my 6 years of business, not only have, and it's such a gift for me to be able to come on and talk about this because I have, in the last 6 years, my son has grown from an 11-year-old to a 17-year-old.
Wow.
Is that 6?
Yeah,
11, 12, that's 6, isn't it?
We're off to a cracking start.
He's gone from being in school, going through lockdown, all the way through to an independent driver on his own. A young man, literally. I have navigated some of my own stuff, which we'll talk about today. Yeah. But I think something else to add into the mix was during that time, I was a carer for an elderly parent with severe dementia who passed away. And so I think that one of the biggest mistakes that we can make, and we'll talk about it today, is you look at someone else's journey, you look at someone else's sort of end result, and you can make so many assumptions about them in business or them as a person or them and their body shape. And what you're not seeing is everything that they navigated through in that time. To get there.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
So have I left any stone unturned?
No.
That's me in a nutshell.
Yeah. And I think there's so much synergy between what we do because we both do a lot of work around mindset, don't we?
Yeah.
And behaviour change, but meaningful behaviour change.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've been on your own fitness journey as well, like health, fitness.
Yeah.
Like, tell me a little bit about that. So as much as you're happy to talk about.
All of it. So, again, I've got my little notes. So rolling it back, I used to do my own version of R&R. So now what does it stand for? Rest and restoration.
Yeah.
Or
relaxation.
Yeah.
Relaxation.
Rest and relaxation. My version of R&R was
probably
running.
Not very relaxing.
No, it was running and restriction. So
God.
I used to operate off the boundaries, off the guidelines of is as long as I'm calorie restricting.
Oh, yeah.
I know, I can see your face right now.
No, but do you know what it is? It's just very, very common.
Oh, do you know what? It's so common, but it was so damaging because it was all to do with restriction, punishment, and really wanting to create change from a place of, I don't like this, I don't like myself, I was shaming myself, I was self-loathing. But I think the most important thing that I want to talk about is when in 2024, when I was coming off the back of being a carer for dad had passed away, and I'd sort of got my time back again. And I'll talk about what that was like, because I feel like it's important for people to hear, well, what do you do when you're not getting sleep?
Yeah.
And so I'll just put a pin in that for now. But 2024, I really did try and failed. So I signed up to a gym, and I think that I did the classic all or nothing.
That again, it's so common.
Going in and being like, right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And I set myself up to fail.
Yeah.
And you will know that I got to the end of that year and I was like, fuck this. I need something that supports me consistently.
Yeah. And it is actually self-care and not self-punishment.
It's
not about punishing your body. It's about
Sarah,
looking after it.
Literally, it's like you've read my notes, because I've literally...
I haven't, surprised.
I've literally written down here, 2025, real change began with less punishment, more self-respect.
Yeah. It's about loving your body. Not hating it.
And I hear you talk about that on your podcast. I hear you talk about the place that you're making change from. And if I look at my notes and the difference between 2024, 2025, 2024 didn't fit. I was convincing myself with justifiably sounding excuses that I believed. I bought my own bullshit. And I wanted the outcome so quickly that I didn't give myself the chance to do anything really.
And then you feel like it's not working, it's you're failing, and you give up.
Yeah, I did.
And it's the start of the next cycle.
Yeah, and that's who you are.
Yeah.
When you do that, when you go through that, that becomes your identity, which we'll talk about. Then at the end of 2024, I was like, right, I need something to support me. So as you know, I started my book club. Yeah. So my book club...
Is that why you started the book club?
Yeah.
No, I didn't realise that actually, that was where that came from. It was like you were almost just rallying the troops with you to
I just thought, if I want
and kept you accountable as well.
Exactly that. And we talk about accountability today.
Yeah.
But I wanted something for me, because my job is so focused on lifting other people up.
Yes.
And I love it, and I get so much back from it, as you do. You can hear that you do.
It, yeah.
Sometimes you still do need something just for you. Yeah. So I was like, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a book a month, and whoever comes along, comes along. It was never meant to be a legitimate part of my business.
And then you realise that there's such a want for it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the first book that we did, they're all behind me on this shelf. The first book that we did was Effortless by Greg McKeown. And it was really that point where I was like, oh shit, I am self-sabotaging. I am screwing myself over. There's a more sustainable way for this. And it comes from actually, the place that comes from is a different place. It's self-respect, self-honor, self-care. If it starts there, and if it's almost like a little seedling, I think that is where really good and positive change can come from.
And it can be more consistent then as well, because it doesn't feel so unmanageable that because there's no point implementing changes that in 5 years' time, you're not going to be doing it.
Yeah.
So if it's too big too soon, and like I always say, start small and snowball with that.
Yeah, I love that.
But then you're doing things that feel manageable, and before you know it, you're building on those little small easy wins, the low-hanging fruit, isn't it, to begin with? But I do think a lot of people, like especially January is a time for this, people go all guns blazing. It's like, this is the year.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop eating all of the,
just all together.
Yeah.
I just won't eat again.
But it's like, are you still going to be doing that in March?
Exactly.
No, you're not.
No.
So, and you don't need to anyway. That's the whole point. But it becomes punishment then. And it comes from a place of almost like self-loathing, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. My favourite episode of yours so far is episode 34. And it's because of that. It's because what you're saying in that, it's about the basics. And do you know what? I was listening along to it, and the thought that I had was, every single thing that you were saying in that episode made complete sense, and you can't argue with it.
Yeah.
I think the discrepancy is we want the change faster.
Yeah. We're also impatient, aren't we?
Impatience.
Yeah.
And the impatience isn't because we're just inherently impatient. It's because I'm so unhappy with who and what I am right now that can anything get me out of that quicker?
Yeah. You just want to feel good as quick as possible, don't you?
Yeah.
It's an awful feeling when you're unhappy in your skin.
Yeah.
And you do anything to change it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, 100%.
And I do get that. And when I do start working with a new client, I'll always have to have a chat around expectations.
Yeah.
And like knowing that it's not linear either, any of this. You know, it's like...
But this again
life isn't linear, is it?
No, this again is the link between our work.
Yeah.
Because you listen to what you've just said about goals and what they want for their vessel.
Yeah.
That, you know, and that could be weight loss, weight gain, muscle growth. It could be flexibility, whatever.
Yeah.
I then link that back to the work that I do about goals, setting expectations, even those moments where someone goes, I just need a quick fix right now. Like, what can I do? And it could be in business. It could be that they're just so overwhelmed with self-doubt, which is exactly the same as in to navigate that is exactly the same skill set as it is being overwhelmed with self-loathing.
Yeah.
So that feeling that you're craving in that moment of, I need a fix and I need it now.
Yeah.
I want people to know navigating that space is a skill, and you can develop that skill.
Yeah, you can. You can. I think that's where, though, coaching comes in, and it's so important as well. It's having someone who can sense check you when you're spiraling.
Yeah.
Have someone. It's like, it's about the accountability, but the support element of it as well.
Yeah.
Especially if someone's got themselves into such a place where they are so unhappy and it feels like a long way away, them actually feeling good.
Yeah.
And actually, it does surprise people how quickly they start to feel good when they're not focusing on this really arbitrary goal as well. Like, the one thing I try and guard against is like picking a scale weight, and it'll be what's significant about that weight, and it'll be like, that's what I weighed when I got married. It's like, when did you get married? And it's like, why
15 years ago.
And like, our bodies change, don't they? And 100%. We change, and like that's almost trying to live in the past.
Yeah.
And I think let's work on what we are now.
Yeah.
And let's get to love what we have now.
Yeah.
You know,
meet yourself where you're at.
Meet yourself where you're at. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that.
What do you think are the biggest challenges when it comes to making behaviour change? Because I think we're going to have very similar sort of experiences.
Okay, so I have quite a few things to say on this. Do you mind if I rattle through them?
No, go for it.
So the first one is it's something that we were talking about before, and that is, I think that the hardest thing to accept is keeping it painfully simple. Yeah. You and I both love Atomic Habits, which is a book that I've got.
Anyway, everyone should read that book.
I know.
Who's trying to make behaviour change. I think there's too much emphasis sometimes put on making new habits and not put on breaking old ones as well. So like, it's perfect. It's a brilliant book.
It really is.
Yeah.
If you keep things painfully simple.
Yes.
To the point where, and I just want to define painfully. What I mean when I say it is, you will feel like it's not enough.
Yeah.
You're just going to live every day and be like, I haven't done enough. And actually, like, even listening to that episode 34 that I love of yours, when you actually listen to what you're saying just remove one small thing. Just add in one small thing.
Yeah.
So painfully simple. And I think just tailing off that, make it, and this is something we got from Atomic Habits, tailing off that, make it harder to do the habits that aren't serving you, and make it easier to do the habits that are. So just to give you a silly example, I know that I have a protein goal. So keeping it painfully simple.
Protein's the bane of a lot of people's lives.
Well, it doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't have to be, but a lot of people believe it is.
Yeah, and listen.
Because they're overcomplicating it.
As did I. Yeah. As did I. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the final 3 things that you ask at the end, right? I got that. So, and a silly little example is, I know that part of I need to look forward to it. If I love food so much.
Meet your mates.
And I love a little snacky snack. Like, I love a snacky snack. And so it's like, okay, how can I keep it painfully simple to achieve my goals and feel good about myself, but also at the same time, like not have to put a load of effort into it. Now, for me, what I've realized is effort is negotiation in the moment. So if it comes to the point where I have to make a decision in the moment, the part of my brain that is the in the moment decision maker versus the part of my brain that made a decision in advance, two different brains.
Yes.
Two different brains,
yeah.
right? So a silly little example there is just make some Greek yogurts for me and the boys for the next 2 days.
I've seen your videos. You make your yogurt pots, don't you?
Yeah. So
put them in the fridge.
Put them in the fridge. It's painfully simple. The next one I've got is your current results are lag time evidence. Your current results are lag time evidence. So I think that we look at our current evidence, and that could be in business, your current results. It could be your vessel, your physical vessel, and how that is, how that looks, how that feels. There has to come a point where you recognize, and we learned this in The Slight Edge, the book that we covered by Jeff Olson. Your choices every day are leading you on a trajectory. And you have to ask yourself, are my current choices leading me on a trajectory that is serving me or that is not?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter your circumstance. So I'm not going to go all Molly May and say we've all got 24 hours in the day because we haven't.
No, we haven't. Yeah.
Right? My friend's got twins. My other friend's a carer for an elderly parent.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine's got a chronic disease. Like we're not all the same.
No.
So that aside, or not that aside, that included, is actually when you look at it, and you look at, I've got these circumstances, but I've also got my choices. And if I take responsibility for my choices, I can then accept that whatever I'm dealing with today, there will be a lag time on my previous choices that have got me to this point.
Yeah. And it's owning it as well. It's owning those choices as well.
Yeah.
And I actually, one of the things I will say to the girls is, if they're eating out or something and they'll say, what would you suggest? And I'll say, is this an important, like what aligns with what's most important to you? What aligns with what's important to you? Is this a special occasion?
Yeah.
And therefore you want to be more indulgent? Or is this, you go into a work lunch and therefore you would make a different decision based on that. But whatever the choice is, own it and move on.
Yeah.
Don't dwell on it. Don't let it impact the next day.
Yeah.
Own it, move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Literally that. Yeah. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. We've talked about that one already. You can do it from shame or you can do it from honor. Yeah. One works, one doesn't. This one, I actually want to get this little book. So the next one, so we're still on the biggest challenges to making behavioral change. The biggest one for me was I believed my own shit. Not only did I believe my own shit, I defended it. So this stopped for me when in the book club we did The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks.
I've not read that book. I wasn't in the book club then.
Really?
No.
See, this is why
I joined for Atomic Habits that month.
Okay. So
I'm only on second book.
So in an integration month where we pause, maybe go back and do this one. This one is all about your upper limits and the understanding that we all have an idea of what good enough is for us. And at that point, we self-sabotage because is it okay for me? Is it okay for it to be as good as this, right? On page 11, Gay Hendricks, love his name, says this. In my life, I've discovered that if I cling to the notion that something's not possible, I'm arguing in favour of limitation. And if I argue for my limitations, I get to keep them. Ultimately, we have to ask ourselves, what is the payoff for arguing forcefully for our limitations?
Ooh,
I know.
It's nice.
I know. And when I read that, I was like, oh, shit.
Yes.
Shit. Every single time I say I can't because I'm defending my limitations. Now, there's a fine line there between I can't because and then a genuine, justifiable reason versus me arguing and defending my limitations.
It's discerning the two, isn't it?
It is discerning
the very different scenarios.
Yeah. That. And like, for example, I used to, and it was a habit that did not serve me. When I cared for Dad, I had a pack of mini rolls in my drop down, in my what's it called?
In your desk?
In your car.
Oh, the glove compartment.
The glove compartment. And in my head, I'd be like, this is, Sarah. I'd be like, this is within my calories. So on the way to Dad's, I'd stuff a mini roll in my face. Give me
I
that.
love the way you worded that, stuff a mini roll.
Literally, no biting was involved, really.
Down in one. They're quite big mini rolls, aren't they? I know they're called mini, but
quite a skill.
It's decent size. It's quite a skill,
Thank you. I'll take that. Should have brought one today so we could stuff
to give us a demo.
Anyway, it's not the point. I used to be like, okay, well, I'll just do that. I'd get home, I'd be frazzled and fried because it was stressful.
Yeah.
And I'd get home and I'd be like, I just need to gorge on carbs and something stodgy. Now, if I think about the way that my mind worked around that at the time, I'd be like, well, there's nothing else I can do.
Yeah.
I've done work, straight from work to care for Dad. I've got to do that. No, you didn't. No, you didn't have to do that. You could have had something that served you more.
Yeah.
And I just want to be clear. I'm never like resentful of past me. I'm actually really,
you learn a lot from it.
Yeah. Like I don't look back on that and be like, you silly cow. Like at all. I totally get why I did what I did. Would I repeat that? Would I want to go back and give her a hug and say, Nick, put the mini rolls down? Like, just because it's in your calories doesn't mean it's good for you, you know?
And I think it was the behaviour, it was the domino effect from that, wasn't it? That it wasn't the mini roll that was the issue. It was the fact that you were starving then. Yeah. And then you've got home tired and stressed and it's led to overeating then when you've got home.
Yeah. Literally that. And justifying
so the mini roll isn't actually the problem, is it?
No. Mini rolls are never the problem.
Mini rolls are never the problem.
Quote that. But so my last point here, like what's the biggest challenge in creating meaningful behavioural change? And this isn't just in my experience, this is the work that I do with clients, is we want to have, do, be. We don't want to be, do, have.
Ooh, so come on, explain.
So you've got to stop trying to change what you do and start changing how you be. So we want the outcome and we're like, okay, so let's say it's weight loss, right? Mm. So we, like you said, that scale on the that weight on the scale, I want to have that. And if I can have that, then I'll do the things.
Yeah. And then I'll be happy a lot.
And then I'll be, right, exactly that. When actually it goes the other way around. You've got to learn that you are in the journey right now. Mm. And however long it takes you to get from A to B, and it could be in your physical vessel, it could be in business and your business results, however long it takes you to get there, you have got a choice to make. You either enjoy the journey and you treat yourself well in the journey and do it sustainably, or every time you look down and you don't have those results, you think, well, fuck it then. Like you say, press the fuck it button. Yeah. That. And I think learning that and learning that, which is something I know we're going to talk about, it really does come from your identity.
Yes.
Not just...
This is huge.
Yeah.
But I think as well, you've got like the journey for me now is the best bit.
Yeah.
And it's being able, and there's a big part of the work I do as well is we'll do a weekly reflection. It's a check-in. We'll reflect on previous week. We'll look at the week ahead. What are we planning around? How do we feel about our progress so far? And I ask that every week. Yeah. And it's interesting based on how someone's week's gone as to how they feel about their progress. Yeah. And it's how we identify with like, I want that result. But I'm not doing the things that a person with that result would do. I'm not enjoying the process because I'm so focused on the end goal. Yeah. You take your eye off the small things that you were saying before, those tiny little things that add up. Yeah. And actually don't feel unmanageable and actually feel quite enjoyable. Like eating well actually makes you feel good. Yeah, it really Moving your body makes you feel good, but it doesn't at the start. If you're like, I'm only exercising to lose weight or I'm only eating this to lose weight. There's you're taking the enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, and I think as well, just on that point, something I hadn't really considered before today is it doesn't feel normal. So I remember rocking up when I said I failed in 2024. I remember I signed up to that gym, but I felt like is this saying a fish out of water? Yeah. I didn't fit in.
So you didn't identify with someone who should be there?
Yeah. It just didn't feel right. And further to that, I justified it by saying, that's not for me. And I picked faults in them.
Yeah.
I picked faults in the gym. I picked faults in the class to sort of further solidify that that's not me.
Yeah.
You know?
And it can be hard to look at our own like behaviour
Shit.
patterns and stuff. Yeah. It can,
Shit.
can't it? And be really honest with.
Yeah.
You know, and I've had conversations before with clients where, you know, all the things that they haven't been able to do because of this, and this.
Yeah.
And I remember one conversation where I was like, you haven't mentioned yourself once in that.
Yeah.
And, you know, there has to be some ownership
yeah.
and like, you know, don't allow those things to take over every aspect of your life. You know, if you don't have boundaries around certain things, and it's a bit like
always someone else's fault.
Yeah, and it's like we're reading an essentialism now. If you don't intentionally use your time, then someone else will decide how that time's getting used.
Yeah.
And
then you can be a victim of that then.
Yeah.
And it's easier to be a victim of that.
And it's easy to buy into it because that's just my life and I don't have any control. And it disempowers us as well to believe we don't have control.
It does.
Over certain things. By the way, I'm not saying we can control every aspect of our lives because we really, really can't.
No, but that's an understanding in this episode. And I think your listeners will get that.
We're coming from a place of compassion with it. But
yeah, and also call yourself out on your shit.
Yeah, you know, that's what it is. It's uncomfortable though, isn't it? When you first realize, because I did that as well. So similar background to you. You know, I did the over exercise, under eat, and it was purely for aesthetics. It was didn't care about like what I was eating. It was how many calories did it have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have dreamt of eating an avocado or something because that had too many calories in it, even though it had healthy fats in, you know, it was good for me.
Yeah.
Anything that had the word fat was not going anywhere near my body.
Yeah.
And it's not until I started to appreciate health plays a massive part in how we perform in our business, in our personal life, and how we feel day to day, doesn't it?
How you feel about yourself.
Yes.
And, you know, you mentioned something before that I think, actually, let's not skip over that. You said we have a weekly check-in.
Yeah.
And in that weekly check-in, we reflect and we like take stock almost. And I think that when you said before, like, what is it that it's almost the biggest challenges to creating that meaningful change is interpreting the data wrong.
Yeah.
So there's one thing, you know, it's like looking back and being like, well, it didn't work. These are all the reasons why. No, but slow down. What's the data telling you? Because you can use that. I think there's a difference between interpreting data and concluding data.
Yeah.
So I'm someone who I'm quite quick to go, that didn't work, move on. Yeah. Like try something new. And actually, if you look at the data and go, well, actually, Nick, you have 5 hours sleep on Tuesday. You woke up starving. Have you got any thoughts about that? Like, you know?
Maybe have a little look at the sleep. Yeah. That's actually interestingly another thing I ask every single week. How did you sleep?
Exactly.
How's your sleep been? Because it has a massive knock on as to how you perform, like how you behave the next day, doesn't it?
If you just said that to me, like 3 years ago, I'd have been like, it's got nothing to do with anything.
Well, you said in one of your podcast episodes, actually, you used to think like sleep was almost like a weakness.
Do we? It's boring. Yeah,
sleep's
do
for
we
wimps.
even need it? And which is hilarious, right?
It's mad when you think back.
I'm a great sleeper.
Yeah.
And I actually love a bit of sleep.
I love me sleep.
But I think that anything that didn't contribute to something that, like an outcome.
A tangible outcome.
When actually, like I've got one of those fitness watches and it tells me now my training load. And the other week, actually, it said to me, you're well above your training load. And you it's in part because you're not going to sleep early enough. The types of exercises that you're doing too regularly are too high intensity. And I was like, yeah, I don't really agree with that, right? Because I feel fine, right? My husband says to me, but it says underneath, Nick, that if you keep being in well above, you're more susceptible to injury and you're more susceptible to becoming ill.
It's that lag you talked about before.
It's that lag. Listen to me, I'm full of cold.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, and that's what I mean. It's interpreting the data without ego and ignorance, and also without like being a bitch to yourself too.
It's hard to do that for yourself.
Hence
it really
support,
is,
right?
Yeah.
The other part of what you said, so there's the reflection piece, and I totally agree with you. Getting support with that reflection means working with someone like you and me in different aspects means that you can more objectively look at that data and have that person say, you don't need to interpret it by being a dickhead to yourself.
Yeah, you don't need to be so harsh on yourself.
Yeah.
Or I'll have someone who'll say, I only did 2 workouts last week and I wanted to do 3.
Yeah.
So therefore the week hasn't gone to plan. I'm like, you still did 2 more than you could have done.
Yeah.
So you do what you can do.
Yes.
You don't need to be perfect.
But it's you, what I see happening, and you'll see it with what you do, I see it with what I do, is people will look at what they didn't do last week or how they failed last week, but further to that, and I think this is the most dangerous bit, they then project that into the upcoming week. So if, for example, I meant to do 3 last week and I only did 2, and it could be workouts, it could be sales calls, it could be anything. I could interpret that to not just mean I didn't hit my goal, but I could interpret that to mean I don't follow through.
Yeah.
It becomes about me.
Well, this comes into identity then, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So you start to believe that you aren't someone who's capable of doing this and it's just not you. And and we have there's so much I think goes into identity, isn't there?
Huge. Absolutely huge. I think that when it comes to identity, you have to you have to learn and accept to leave shit in the past.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I work on with my clients is language. And I love it because we work together over Zoom. And not only that, when we work in that way, regardless of what space we're in, it'll be recorded and on a private podcast.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing is calling out the things that they'll flippantly throw away.
Yeah.
I'm a procrastinator. I'm such a people pleaser. I just don't follow through.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
All of these things that we just say that we genuinely think are
and I do
fixed.
it. I do it. And I'm sure we all do it, don't we? Yeah. But to different degrees of
yeah. But if you just tweak that just slightly, and you could say something like, I have been such a procrastinator. Even if you wanted to go, I was such a procrastinator last week.
Yeah. Yes, that's very different to I am
Right? And that's what I mean about projecting it forward. Yeah. So that's how identity continues, is we seek evidence of it. For example, I could seek evidence that I'm a procrastinator, or I could seek evidence that actually I do get shit done.
Yeah.
Where you direct your attention will be the evidence that you focus on, which will tell you back, this is who you are.
Yeah. I know. One of my clients, actually, she's brilliant. She loved Atomic Habits, and she said in one of her check-ins about, I've done this every day this week. She'd done, we got her moving in the mornings, and she was like, I feel like it's like a vote for the person I want to be. And I was like, you've read Atomic Habits. But she's amazing because she's not trying to do too much too quickly. Yeah. She's taking the wins as she goes along, and she's learning to enjoy the process as well.
Gorgeous.
But it's like that feeling of, I'm not where I want to be right now.
Yeah.
But I can get there.
Yeah.
And it's like you were saying before about so I think some people will look at someone who appears to them to be in a healthy a body shape that maybe they want, or that who goes to the gym without really it being a struggle and being like, I want to be like that.
Or so they think.
Exactly. And I think, I've had this over the years where, because I'm like you, I'm an early bird, so I will train early.
Yeah.
And this is another thing actually when it comes to identity, I'm not a morning person, is a very frequent one, but I used to train at 6 p.m. because I was in court all day and I had to be in Birchwood. I had a 2-year hearing, had to be in Birchwood by 8:30.
Okay.
So it was impossible for me to go in the morning. I couldn't do it. I was getting the train. So I'd go at night. I hated training at night.
Yeah.
But that became when I did it. And then when I came off that case and I went back to my normal caseload, I had to train myself to get up early.
Back.
And I don't love getting up at 5 a.m. I don't love it. I don't do it because I'm programmed that way.
Yeah.
I have programmed myself to 100%. Become that.
Yeah. And again, it's what you focus on. Yeah. So I'll go to a class 6 till 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
Do I like getting up at 5:15? Absolutely not.
No. I think it's a bit worse in the winter. It's awful, isn't it? But
so when I'm, I said before about the negotiation in the moment.
Yeah.
How can I make it as easy as possible in that moment when my eyes are closed, I'm fast asleep, the alarm goes off? How can I make it easier for me
to just get
to follow through? And do you know the whole 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? That does not work for you. For me. What works for me is having in my mind the point that I need to reach to feel proud of myself, which I'm going to talk about, because I think feeling proud about the choice you make isn't just about following through perfectly.
Yeah.
So we talk about that a little bit later, but going back to what you were saying, the whole identity piece, right? And I really want to, there's a point that I've made at the bottom of this little note card, and it says, one last thing, you cannot outsource identity. So I think you just can't. You can be supported by a coach.
Yeah.
You can even pay for like programs and these supportive scaffolding. So in the work that you do, I can hear it. You've got a community where people can speak. You've got your one-to-one support. You've got that structure of we reflect every week. There's a real scaffold in there. In the work that I do, they've got their coaching. They've got their monthly reflector goal set. They've got their weekly check-ins. So it's very similar. But even with all of that scaffolding, you cannot outsource identity.
You can't do it for that. You can't do it. Yeah.
But what we want, so I know that when I was first going back into 2025 and really wanting to support my body, I wanted to outsource that. I wanted someone to just do it for me. And I really connected to that part of you that's like, if I just pay this money, it'll happen.
Yeah.
And it just, you can't outsource it. No. It's the one thing that dialogue with you and you, when you're just with yourself and your thoughts, that's the one thing you can't outsource.
No. And the only way you can change your identity is by taking action, isn't it?
Yeah.
And letting go of perfectionism as well. It's a huge, huge problem. I think especially I work predominantly with corporate women, professional women, and perfectionism is sort of drilled into you. Yeah. It was for me as a lawyer. Yeah. So it was like when I first started out in law, it was like if you make a mistake, then that's a potential negligence claim. Yeah, so huge. I've lived my entire life trying not to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And then you get to something where you can't be perfect. Yeah. It's there isn't actually perfection doesn't exist, does it?
No.
Not when it comes to taking care of yourself. It doesn't.
It can't. And I think this is a really good point. Most of us, when we start on the journey of being more aware of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and we start planning, we plan for the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I probably have one day a month where I am the best version of myself.
Yeah. Most of the time, it's a struggle.
Yeah. Like most of the time I'm hormonal, or someone's pissed me off, or something's happened in the house that they've got, or an animal needs something, or I'm not.
Stuff that you can't plan for, basically.
Yeah. But
you can factor in that they are likelihood.
And that's the point.
Yeah.
We need in that support and in that meeting yourself where you're at, we can't plan for the ideal version of ourselves.
Setting yourself up to fail.
Oh, so fucked. Like you've got to make sure, that you're like, actually this week, I'm probably not going to be motivated. I'm probably not going to have discipline. Yeah. And it's so hard to admit that when you've lived a career of, don't get it wrong, do it all right.
I know. And also as well, I think we like to feel like we can do everything. But when it comes to this, so what I will do each week with the girls is I will say, these are your non-negotiables based on what they've got on for the week ahead. And it could be different each week.
Yeah.
Because your life looks different each week, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it will be like, okay, so this week we know that we're traveling for work on such day. We've got events on this day. We've got deadlines to hit on this day. Yeah. So realistically, this week we might get to the gym or do a home workout 3 times. Yeah. So we'll say 3 non-negotiable, 4 optional.
Lovely.
Like optimal. Sorry, 4 optimal. We might say this week we're just going to focus on getting our fruit and veg in and drinking water, because we know we've got really, really heavy workload and we need clarity. We want to make sure that we're hydrated and blah, blah, blah. But those little wins make a massive difference to how you perform and feel.
So much. And that, it's funny that you mentioned that, because that is a little point that I've got written down here, is to become who I want to be and what I want to be. What can I do? You mentioned earlier that you've worked with someone in the past who the focus, and it's a skill. Turning your attention is a skill. when we just focus on, well, I can't do that, and I've got to travel then, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. But what can you do? So if you're traveling, if you're traveling 3 days out of a 5-day week, a 5-day work week, could you take a little sachet of protein water to put in your water? What can you do? And it's like, we're so focused on achieving 130 grams of protein and doing this and doing that. But actually, sometimes it's going to be really fucking hard. So what can you do? What good choices can you support yourself with?
And I think it's not losing sight of why as well.
Yeah.
Like I always talk about meaningful behaviour change, and that obviously the change itself has to be meaningful.
Yeah.
But there has to be a reason for it, that like your why sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you doing this for yourself? Like it's to feel good day to day. And a lot of the work I do, it's the women want to feel good in themselves personally, but also perform.
Yeah.
Be efficient in business, all of that stuff. Don't forget why you're doing these things. Like, don't lose sight of the fact that you're doing this to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
It benefits your business. It benefits your job. It benefits your family.
Yeah.
It benefits you. Don't lose sight of it. Do what you can do, and don't put too much pressure on yourself where it feels like, I cannot do this. Fuck it. I'm just going to give up.
Isn't it funny though? So as I listen to you speak, I'm like, well, yeah, because like, for example, I coach a lot. So they'll either be running their own business or they'll be in employment, usually in a leadership position, right? What I find a lot of people want, what a lot of women want, I work with like 3% guys, but everyone, they want to feel looked after.
Yeah.
Now, when you think about that, there's that Mel Robbins snippet is, no one's coming to save you. No one's going to do it for you.
You do it voice really well.
But you know what? People went apeshit over that, and it's because it's true.
Yeah.
Now, if you operate off the basis of, actually, good old Mel's right, no one is coming to look after me, but I want to feel looked after.
Yeah.
The very first question that I will ask my clients on a Monday every week is, what do you need this week to be well resourced on the inside to meet the challenges of your week? So it takes the question very much from a L'Oreal because I'm worth it, which feels quite, empowering at first. And then it's a bit like, to, I need to feel looked after. Now, what you'll notice is if you look after yourself well enough, all of those business decisions that you need to make, you will make them from a different place.
Yeah.
Because you're like, shit, I'm respected. I don't need to earn their respect. I have my own.
Yeah.
I trust myself. I don't need you to trust me.
Yeah.
And it's not just business decisions. It's like how I show up,
how
I interact with people. All of a sudden, if I'm taken care of, I need less validation from the outside because I validate me.
Yeah.
It's such a shift.
And this is where your confidence comes from, and like your self-confidence, and I think that can be a massive thing. So often that's really been knocked or damaged, often by the person themselves, setting themselves up to fail repeatedly. And it's unless you know that there's a different way, and that usually comes from working with someone like yourself or working with a coach like me. That's where the cycle just continues, doesn't it? And you start to believe that you're beyond change.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Like the amount of times that I myself or have worked with someone and there's a glimmer left that actually I am worthy of this and I can do it. And that's all you need.
Yeah.
All you need is a glimmer.
A little spark.
A little spark, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot, but I feel like when you're going through that change, and I know we're going to come on to it, it can be hard. And I want to talk about that struggle because it's tricky, right?
Yeah. Well, we were going to talk about what do you think are the key components to someone like wanting to make change? It is about sort of setting yourself up to win is a massive thing, but recognizing what that looks like. And it, like you say, it might not feel like you're doing very much.
Yeah.
That actually is the goal, really, is to feel like it's not impacting you on a level where it feels like a struggle every day.
Yeah.
But also recognizing that things that are worth it will be hard sometimes. And like it's unrealistic to expect that to make like meaningful change is going to be an easy ride all of the time, because it's not, is it? Let's face it.
I agree. I think that when we're struggling, we misunderstand struggle. So we feel struggle, we experience struggle, and we interpret it.
Yeah.
It's hard. I'm shit. I'm failing. This isn't good. I'm not going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
If you allow yourself, and it could just be from literally a perspective shift from this episode, if you allow yourself to be in that struggle without interpreting it to mean you've done something wrong or it's hard because you are inherently bad or flawed, but just literally like you've just said,
that's a tough day.
It's hard because it's hard.
It's hard because it's hard sometimes. And also I think you can fall into the comparison trap of looking at other people and assuming they've got it made. Instagram doesn't help with this. And looking at like other people and thinking, why can't I just be like that? But as you said earlier, you don't know what goes into them being that way or what struggles they face. Let's face it, none of us are sharing our struggles out, outwardly all of the time, are we? And I think we can assume that we're the only one who finds something difficult. Why do I find it really difficult to be consistent with exercise? Why do I not just eat well? Do you know, why do I always self-sabotage? And assume that nobody else does those things. When in fact it's really, really common. It's just people don't talk about it.
Yeah. And I think comparison, we actually looked at this in one of the books. I think it might have been when we covered Let Them by Mel Robbins. And if it is that book, in whatever book it was, we learn in there to use comparison in a healthy way. So comparison isn't necessarily a bad thing. If someone's got something that you want and you see that, what that feeling is of comparison is, I want that.
Yeah.
They've got that. I want that. But you have got to accept that to have what they've got, there will have been, firstly, there will have been privilege that may or may not be a similar privilege to you. There will be circumstance that may or may not be similar to you. But also they will have done certain things for a certain amount of time. They will have navigated through certain things. And I genuinely feel like when you use that comparison in a way that instead of going, well, they've got it and I can't do that, you go, well, they've got it and do you know what? That's actually a sign that it could be possible for me too.
And see them as inspirational.
Yeah.
I think it's what you compare to, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the thing. And also, I was talking to someone recently who was saying, like, don't be looking at someone's life and envying it if you're not prepared to do the things that they've done to get there.
Yeah.
It's like, would you do those things to get there? If the answer's no, stop comparing to that because that's
100%.
not a life you want if you're not prepared to do the things.
Imagine.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain, like, I'm obviously 40 plus in the fitness space. I didn't even come into the fitness space until I was in my 40s. And realistically, the fitness industry is full of these like fitness models, gorgeous girls, young girls. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know whether I identify as being. And then it was like, no, actually, I'm just a normal person.
Yeah.
And me comparing myself to a 25-year-old fitness model does me no good because.
You comparing yourself to you at 25? Yeah.
Or even like, so there's things that I like, or me comparing myself to, a high rocks athlete and why can't, I'm not doing high rocks training.
There you go.
So like, and I've got, or, people who are really good runners. I don't enjoy running. I don't want to run.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's very easy. And I do this sometimes. I'll be like, maybe I should be doing that. Maybe I'm a fitness, I'm in fitness. I should be doing that, but I don't want to.
Yeah. And it's that honesty. Though.
And I've got no intention of doing those things. So I'm never going to have what they have. I have my own thing going on.
Yeah. And do you know what? That's the final point that I've got on this is I've written down here, no. And I mean, deep down in your bones, no. The outcomes will be inevitable. They're just not going to come as quickly as you want them to come. Yeah. So on that point that you've just made, you might look at a high rocks athlete and online and you might be like, I want that. And I think that when we look at something like that and like to that point, your outcomes, they are inevitable. So if you went, right, every week, I'm going to do one high rocks class.
Yeah.
And then maybe after 12 weeks, I'll do 2 high rocks classes. Yeah. Over time, you will be a high rocks athlete. Yeah. It's inevitable.
But I don't want to do the work.
There you go. And that is more than okay.
Yeah. And I think it's being able to recognise that, isn't it, now?
Yeah.
Because we all do get that, don't we? Where we feel that bit of green, like feel a bit green, a bit envious. And when we're looking at other people's businesses and we're assuming that they're doing better than us or whatever it might be. And then thinking, but they're working like stupid hours every day. And I actually don't want to do that. I could be making a lot more money if I was prepared to work in the same way that they work, but I don't want to do that. So it's like, obviously as a lawyer, I was doing ridiculous hours and I was making a lot of money, but I don't do that anymore because I don't want to do the things that it requires.
So that conversation about what you want is so easy to be like, I want this.
Yeah.
Do you?
Do you really want what it's? Are you prepared to do it? Yeah.
So like, I'll give you an example. I had a lady come to a coaching call with me back end of last year. And it's around a time that like we're looking back on the year, we're reflecting. And this particular person has her office in an office block with other businesses.
Yeah.
And everyone in that office block seems to be growing their team, right? This person that I work with, their business, she is on her own. And for all of the things that she needs support with, she outsources them to freelancers. Yeah. So she comes to this coaching call and she's like, right, I want you to support me in growing my team. And on this coaching call, I want to talk about how I grow my team. And I was like, all right then. Firstly, why? Like,
why do you want to?
What's not working about the freelancer situation? Because you have to explore it. You have to interrogate what you say your wants are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we learned this in the book. In the book club, we did a book called Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt. And in that, there's a chapter in there where he talks about get really fucking serious about what you say you want. Anyway, back to the quick story. I was like, why do you want that? And it turns out that she just assumed that was the next natural step to a successful business is employing more a team member. When actually, when we looked at, well, what do you want? Do you want a lean team or do you want to grow a team? Do you want to have that people management responsibility?
Yeah. It's a different job then.
It's a different job, right? And when it came down to it, she was like, oh, I'm really happy. Like I want to scale my business, but I don't want to have a team member report into me. So I do believe that in life and in business, when it comes to us just flippantly throwing out, this is what I want, we've got to own that.
Well, we get to define our own version of success as well, don't we? And I think that was a big piece for me because I identified as a lawyer.
Yeah.
I felt, and I'll be honest, it's been like, I've had moments where I've like struggled with letting go of that identity because I worked so fucking hard
to
for
get
it. Like I worked so hard. And that was basically, I was Sarah, the lawyer, for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's a long time. Well, I wasn't qualified for all 20 of them. I didn't qualify when I was like 5.
It's still your identity at the end.
Yeah. And then it was like, but this isn't success to me. Like on paper, making a really good salary. I was senior. I was being instructed in really big cases. But there was something that just didn't feel successful because in the background, I was not doing great.
Yeah.
And my health was being impacted. And I think for me now, my version of success is very different to what it was at 20 and 30 years old. And that's fine, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, it is. And you can relate that too. I'm 40 this year. I could flippantly throw out, I want abs at 40.
Yeah.
Do you though?
Oh, I've done that.
Do you?
I did that in lockdown. I had abs in lockdown, but I couldn't eat out or anything. Couldn't do anything, could I?
It's like...
And then they disappeared the minute lockdown.
Because...
I was like, they're going.
Yeah, where have they gone?
I was like, Jesus, they're off.
Because think about it. If you want that, you can probably have it in a realistic time frame.
So, it's not worth it.
But and it might be to a different person, it might be. But we're learning, we're just finishing Essentialism in the book club at the moment. And there's a chapter in there on trade-offs.
Oh, yes.
Do you love it?
Yeah.
Because I just love it. And on all of these books, like we've read them before, but doing them in this way, it makes you go, oh my God, like
I haven't read this one before.
Really?
I've really enjoyed, enjoyed this one.
So chapter 4 is about trade-offs. And then chapter 11 is about the saying no. And what I loved about linking those two chapters is when you consider that every no opens up a yes and every yes closes a no, it links back to we're just constantly making trade-offs. So if I say I want abs in August and it's currently January, then the trade-off that I make in setting that goal for myself is
miserable.
Misery.
Do you know what, though? I think, and using that example, there's a lot more goes into that, like genetics and things like that.
Yeah.
And I found that for me personally, my body fat percentage has to be so low for me to get to that I look in my face and I am.
That's a trade-off.
And it's just, I'm not willing to do it.
There you go.
So I can get definition, but I can't. And I cared more as I was younger. I don't actually.
Interestingly, so something surfaced for me. I wasn't going to talk about this, but something surfaced for me around Christmas time where I was like, should I just finally get my nose done? It's
Your
like,
nose?
Yeah, it's been a thing my whole life. I was like, should I just finally do it? Like, the money's there.
Yeah.
You know, business is good. Like, should I just finally, like,
just do it?
Just do it, you know? And you know what was the deciding factor for me as to why I didn't do it? I'd need to take time off my training. I'd like,
can't go to the gym.
Yeah. And I was like, well, fuck that.
Yeah.
No.
Trade-off.
Literally that.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's a trade-off. And it's like, maybe 20 years ago when mean girls were saying mean things.
Oh, yeah.
That, I sound like Monica.
But you evolve, don't you? So what's important? You evolve.
Evolves. And what was crackers about that, I was speaking to my son about it because he's banging into his fitness and he's in a bulking phase.
Oh, he's
costing me a fortune in chicken and meat. And raw eggs. It's disgusting to watch. But like when I was talking to him about this, and I was saying, do you know what? Like, I don't want my nose done because I don't want to have to take 6 weeks off training. I don't want this. I don't want that. And he was like, that's really considered, Mum. Like, well done. And they're trade-off decisions, aren't they?
They are. They are. And I think it's the same in every aspect of your life, isn't it? It's like, I don't like to describe things as sacrifices because I think that puts a negative connotation on it.
Fair.
Some things are sacrifices, but it's a trade-off. If you want to do one thing, generally something else has got to give.
Got to give. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's saying yes, the right things. And I think what I've loved in essentialism as well is it's like not saying no is actually saying yes.
It's such a head fuck.
Yeah. Well, I actually remember I started when I moved to Excello Law, which we were all self-employed consultant lawyers. It was the best move I ever made.
Okay.
It was brilliant. And I'd come from private practice where you didn't say no. Like you just said yes to everything. And if a job came in, if a new case came in.
You take it.
Yeah. I mean, God forbid if I'd have gone, oh no, I didn't fancy it.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then when I got to Excello, I was sat there and a call came through and it was a new potential client. And I was like, I got off the phone and I said to the lad sat next to me, he was a property lawyer. I was like, God, she sounds like a nightmare. This is going to be awful.
Yeah.
And he went, just say no, mate.
Yeah.
And I was like,
am I allowed
he went,
to do
you wait
that?
for yourself, just say no. And I went, oh God, yeah. But I hadn't actually considered the option of me going, I don't want to act for you. Yeah. So I didn't ring her. I sent her an email saying, I'm so sorry, I'm at capacity. Mental capacity was what I meant.
There you go, yeah.
But I was like, it felt so freeing to like
say no.
And it was the way he just so flippantly just sort of went, just say no. And he was really, really, really good at it. We'd go, we're all going for drinks on Friday, you come in? And he'd go, no. And I'd go, oh, are you already out or something? He'd go, no, just don't want to go.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I love you. And I was like, he needs to rub off on more people. Like, it was just like, and it was easy for him to do. He didn't get all het up about like over-explaining. And
isn't that amazing? And if you think about it, in everything we've talked about today, we trap ourselves in rules and habits that we don't even... What was that quote I love? The most dangerous beliefs are the ones you don't think to question. Because if you think about it, if every day you do something, anything for other people that takes half an hour, and all of a sudden you look at it and go, do I want to do that? No, I don't want to do. Now,
why am I doing that?
There could be implications. There could be difficult conversations. There could be.
Yeah. Will that person still think of me the same way? Will they still like me?
All of it. Could be all of it. But let's be honest with ourselves. And I literally spoke about this in an episode. I think it was episode 321 of my podcast, where actually, if you start with, oh no, it wasn't. It was in the book club. I'm lying. If you start with no to everything, so think about it. Everything is a choice. It's just that some choices have very serious consequences. For example, if I never brush my teeth, there's a consequence, but it's a choice.
This would be interesting if you didn't.
If I don't pick my kids up from school, consequence, social services, but it's a choice. Now, there will be some choices that I go, I could never let my teeth go like that. I could never not pick my kids up. fine. But let's be clear, that is still a choice that you're making. And I think that what we do is we bypass the fact that everything is a choice and we just automatically assume responsibility for things, especially ambitious, capable, successful women who've carried a lot and then carry a lot at home as well.
And we're just used to saying yes. Don't want to look like I'm weak. Don't want to look like I can't cope.
Don't want to look like I don't care.
Yeah, don't want to look like I don't care. All of and it's it's an internal narrative as well, isn't it? It's we don't voice these things, so no one ever sense checks it.
And you can start just by being honest with yourself in private.
Yeah,
that's the best thing about that is you don't have to make moves. You can just go, like listening to this right now, you might be sitting there thinking, is there something that I just want to say no to?
Yeah.
What might that be?
Yeah.
Just have a think.
Yeah. So what are your non-negotiables when it comes to fitness? Because I'm going to be asking, I ask everyone. I've only ever had one guest. But I'm going to ask everyone.
Okay.
I'm going to ask everyone.
Okay. Well, I'll keep it succinct. Okay. Have 3.
Okay.
Number 1, basics. So, and these are basics like sleep, hydration, protein, fiber, steps.
Oh, love it.
Right? Basics. And I want to say to the woman out there who is listening along thinking, yeah, but what about that reformer class? But what about that diet? What about this? All that's fancy shit. Fancy shit that you can do. If you want to go to the reformer class and spend 18 quid a class, by all means,
go for your life. But it doesn't replace any of that.
If you want to go and spend a fortune on the fancy supplements, go and do it.
For your life.
But do not skip the basics because they will serve you. Number 1. Number 2, self-honesty. I know that we've talked about it in this episode, but from working on and with myself and with my own clients, we bullshit ourselves so much.
We do.
And actually, what I want to say in this wrap-up is, if you start to practice self-honesty as a practice, it will enable you to hold yourself to a higher standard.
There's a lot in that.
Yeah.
The standard we hold ourselves to really makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
It's actually something I say to the girls a lot. Hold yourself to a high standard.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
If we're saying we want that goal over there, but I genuinely do believe that self-honesty is a skill.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Shining a mirror on yourself is very, very hard.
Yeah. To do it without judgment and criticism.
And to be kind with yourself in response to what you
see.
Of... Yeah.
And that's the second one. The third one, and this is the final one, is decide from the right place. And I just want to quickly give you the nuance of what I mean by this. You would be totally, it would be fair to think that what I'm saying there is you've got to make good decisions all of the time.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, God.
If I think back of some of my decisions in my lifetime.
I have this filter that I run my decisions through. And the filter is, will this make me feel proud? So because I am someone who I love like a little feel-good moment. I love like, a fuck it moment. I love a fuck it moment, Sarah. I really do. I love a snacky snack and I love a fuck it moment. And I'll give you an example. There was one day where I woke up, it was 5:15, and I could feel a scratch. I wear contact lenses. I could feel a scratch on my eye. And I was like, ignore it, it'll go away. Drove to the gym. I got to just the turn off. And in my head, I was like, would going to the gym for this session make me feel proud right now? No.
Because there's something going on with my eye.
Something going on. And it's going to, it could scratch my eye. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I turned around and went home and I felt proud because I looked after myself.
Because potentially have made yourself worse.
Yeah. Now, you could do that for anything. You could go, oh, I've got this gym session booked and I don't want to go. Ask yourself the question, will going make you feel proud? Will not going make you feel proud? And you're going to have different answers at different times, but honestly, the difference that has made to me to be able to navigate through my life and business.
That's it. That's a massive take home. I think anyone listening.
I love it.
Yeah. And asking ourselves that.
Yeah.
And it's something that would definitely have such an impact on the decisions we make.
Yes, it does.
If we run things through that lens.
It does, because you're not just deciding for yourself in this moment. You're deciding for the version of you in 5-10 minutes time, an hour's time, a day's, a week's time.
Yeah.
Where all of those things that you've said in this episode, those times tiny choices that compound, you know you've chosen with intention.
Yeah.
And even if it wasn't the, in inverted commas, right choice, you know you've done it and you can be proud of it.
And you've owned it as well.
You've owned
it. That you've owned it. So, yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Really, really helpful. Oh, thank you so much for that. I really enjoyed that chat.
Oh, me too. And I just want to say, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I love your podcast. So I'm so grateful.
And I love yours as well. So you are a podcast extraordinaire, aren't you? You're 300 and how many episodes in?
I'm 322 episodes in. And you know, that is a prime example of, there have been some shite episodes where I look back and go, oh my God, what was I even saying? There's going to be, isn't there, consistency over time.
And it's the Inner Work podcast. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's the Inner Work conversation.
For those listening, because I'm sure you are going to get some new listeners.
Oh, yay. Come along. There's lots of swearing. The Inner Work conversation podcast. I'll send you the link. You can put it in the show notes.
Brilliant. I'll put it in the show notes.
Thank
you so much.
Thanks for having me.